The Fallout successor that we have all been waiting for. Good. We already have the Skyrim successor called Tainted Grail, the Fall of Avalon, and now we're getting a Fallout one? Amazing. Because let's be real, again, every single one of us watching does not believe in Bethesda in general, and in the fact that Bethesda will be able to make Fallout 5 or Elder Scrolls 6. Both of these things are going to be horribly garbage, needless to say, considering we already saw how good Bethesda is with what they did with Starfield, and then the expansion of Starfield where they quadrupled down on all the poor decisions that not a single person called good. So, any kind of Elder Scrolls replacement, any kind of Fallout replacement, I welcome it with absolutely open arms. And again, there are games that can be replacements for them. And I cannot stop talking about this, but Tainted Grail: The Fall of Avalon is 100% replacement for, anyone who wants to play a good Elder Scrolls game. An actual good Elder Scrolls game with interesting progression, actual decision making that matters, and good exploration, and a ton of secrets and interesting stuff.
The post-apocalyptic genre is not a very common one. It does exist, and there are several games, if not quite a number of games that have come out over the years. But if you compare post-apocalyptic to, say, fantasy or even more conventional science fiction, you tend to come up short. Now,
is this going to be the game? Because, again, I have never talked about this. Maybe this is me just yapping, but I don't think people like orange-ish looking sandy dune type of desert things, okay? And it's not in general because people don't like vast open spaces. You pick a floodplain, a plain, or a savanna, and people are gonna love it, okay? Give me tall grass and a beautiful green lush field, and it's gonna be great, okay? Sprinkle in a flower here or there, and I'm absolutely sold. But the same cannot be said about deserts, I think, in general. They need a lot of random stuff which makes them feel not like deserts. And I think a lot of games that try to do the post-apocalypse because it's all a desert fail miserably, and we have so few examples of them actually succeeding. I think Fallout is the greatest example of post-apocalypse succeeding because the IP is just, well, so approachable in general. It's super easy to understand. It's super easy to recognize. It is enticing because it has all the good hallmarks of the interesting stuff. Post-apocalyptic buildings, people trying to survive, factions, super mutants, crazy stuff that you can uncover, and a lot of other stuff, obviously. And most importantly, it's not orange. It's not orange. Even Fallout New Vegas, the greatest Fallout that has ever been made, is not exactly actually orange. It has a lot of things in between and in the middle that doesn't make it feel like a non-stop desert. Even though it literally is a desert, because, it's Nevada or whatever it's called. So, oh no, it's California, right? Or Nevada, or whatever. Pick one, I don't care. I'm not American. I'm baited a bunch of Americans to comment, by the way. Self-high five, boys, let's go.
I think there are a number of reasons for this, and I have to personally admit that post-apocalyptic is not really my go-to genre. I'm certainly open to the genre, but the problem with post-apocalyptic is you really have to nail the setting, and specifically, you have to nail specific aspects of the setting in a way that isn't really required of fantasy. There are probably dozens, if not potentially 100, even more, different possible
Yeah, is this the game? Don't get me wrong, it could be fun. The aesthetics don't look that bad, even again, I'm not a fan of the, orange deserty look in general. But I have to say, it's like, what never actually has. One of the things that I hate about post apocalyptic games is post apocalypse happens, and now you have hover cars and future technologies, while all the old stuff that is blown out is, pretty much modern right now, aesthetic and, old in that sense. That never speaks to me because, in my mind, it just doesn't make sense as a setting.
iterations of fantasy based on a fundamental premise of fantasy. There are probably not as many iterations of science fiction that potentially could be made and developed, but when it comes to post-apocalyptic as a genre, there tends to be a lot less leeway. Generally speaking, the world has ended. It typically is a barren landscape a la Mad Max, and you're playing some dude that is desperately trying to survive, and the landscape is hostile towards you because of, I don't know, radiation and banditry and what have you. It tends to be pretty singular in its focus. Now, there are some exceptions, and there is, of course, a lot of variation. Fallout in general, ever since Bethesda's taken the helm, tends to be
It doesn't look that bad, but at the same time, again, to make a post-apocalyptic game, you need to make the world sell. I think the Fallout world sells nicely because because it's advanced in many ways, but it's at the same time our world and less advanced in other ways because they never found a microprocessor. But at the same time, they figured out how to attach knives to Roombas. Go figure. In any case, for example, this. Okay, so some kind of post-apocalypse happened. I don't understand the setting here. Like, what is this? A gas station with a why is there a bus stop there? There's just one gas station, and then there's like all of these electric signs, and they still work even though they're obviously crooked. There's literally no listen. If someone nukes your city, there's no way in living hell your energy infrastructure survives. Okay, you're not getting electricity for all these signs, and some of these signs are futuristic because this, for example, look at this. We already saw it at the start right there. Another sign was kind of hovering in there. Like, why are these signs actually on? It doesn't make sense. Why are the signs futuristic and essays driving in a hover car, but everything else seems like current year-ish? I don't get it. I need a world that actually sells me the idea that it actually is real for these types of games. This is why Fallout is a decent category, and Fallout New Vegas was the best, okay? Everything's fucked. You have a bunch of people trying to survive. There's a bunch of almost remnants of civilization, and there's a bunch of factions trying to take control. I think that's why Fallout New Vegas just worked and hit it where it needs to be hit because it's just simple to understand and it's realistic. Okay, this I have so many questions what I'm seeing right here.
pretty goofy and not terribly serious, i.e. being
Now, granted, this is not saying the game's bad in general, but it is at the same time like this definitely will take away from my enjoyment. A well-designed world is always better than a poorly designed world. And by the way, boys, you know what else? Like the video, hype it up if you're on a mobile device. It takes less than a second and I greatly appreciate it because it's a tremendous help for the channel and it makes me happy. So thank you for all of you who do it. And if you think what we talk about here is important, that's even more of a reason to like the video right now, hype it up, and because I can guarantee that more people are going to see it if you do it, okay? Every like on this video makes 2 new people watch it, which is amazing. Thank you all.
permanently stuck in the 1950s, albeit in the future, and occasionally I've enjoyed it. I'm a little bit weird in that I enjoyed Fallout 3 quite a bit. I still fondly remember blowing up Megaton from Tenpenny Tower in the game, as well as the ability to play an evil collar-wielding guy, if you will. I don't know if I'm allowed to say these words on YouTube. Nonetheless, the collar thing in Fallout 3 with both adults and children. I really enjoy that aspect of things, but it's still a bit goofy overall, and the story is not amazing. So generally speaking, there isn't too much out there that is pure post-apocalyptic. Now, you might be asking yourself why I'm even talking about post-apocalyptic, and the reason for this is pretty simple. Somebody recently tipped me off to a new game in development that apparently is releasing later this year. Although we don't have a release date, I guess it would have to release sometime over the next 3 months or so. And I found this game quite intriguing. This game is called X Killer, and is a combination of a lot of different things. And the thing that really hit me hard was the fact that this game has heavy Blade Runner inspiration, combined with other elements such as the typical post-apocalyptic world. On top of that, it's also Western, and it's also retro, i.e. it takes place in the year 1998. This is an alternative setting to ours. And as you can see, this is the footage from the
Emotion blur.
gameplay. It looks pretty.
Okay. Post-apocalypse, but everything's kind of shiny, feels new, okay? I want the grime, okay? I want the trash. I want all of that.
Pretty interesting. You play this X-Killer, who's a kind of type of bounty hunter, but you hunt not just people, you're hunting their chips, as it were, these things called souls. So it's a little bit more interesting than just being a bounty hunter, hunting people and taking them out. There's something more to it.
Whoa!
Now, as far as I'm aware, this takes place theoretically in New York City. As you can see from the footage, it is basically a barren wasteland, a desert. Now, I think, as I've said, that post-apocalyptic is very difficult to nail, but this one seems to be getting a lot of things right. Now, I do think this is a AA game, functionally speaking.
Aesthetically, I don't know about this, but look, this is much better. For example, we all saw the Roomba hand, right? We all saw the magical Roomba hand, and here you have posters about prosthetics. That is good world building right there. More stuff like this. More stuff that is like, okay, you can't just make a cyberpunk world with, Chrome and whatnot and be like, no one talks about it ever, or it's not even a big deal. Okay, the reason why cyberpunk works like a world is because it talks about it. The world itself references the world itself. The world is not just some kind of random dead place that that is just used for some kind of a rando story that doesn't even fit the setting to be told. No, the world is the setting, and the setting is happening in the world, and the world is real. That's why I think cyberpunk is good, because it reinforces the things. And stuff like this, I think, is very important. People overlook this a lot, but to make a world that actually seems good requires you to do some stuff like this, okay? You can't just have the year 2025 infrastructure, buildings, and everything, and be like, oh yeah, look, we're actually the future. We got nuked to the Stone Age, but guess what? We're also the future, baby. It works in Fallout because, again, it's a different technology path, but this is clearly not it.
It is semi-open world with hub areas, so within the hub areas you can...
And again, listen, you need degradation, okay? Look at these cracks on the wall, look at this. You need that. These pipes. Oh, no. What is this? A fresh coat of fucking paint? Hell nah, bruh.
Explore. And I like the idea of playing a fixed character in some sense. This is basically an immersive sim of some sort. And based on the feedback...
Wait, what did that do? I don't think it healed. You can see the health bar here. I don't think that even healed.
As I've read, you don't even level up in this game. Your gameplay is pretty much based on the mods you, I guess, insert or make use of for your body. So there is an element of cyberpunk here as well. So it's this interesting mishmash of different genres and different influences. So for example, the Blade Runner influence is found in what is effectively, I guess, hunting down synths. So you're sort of hunting down the synthetics of this world. I believe, that's my understanding of acquiring these soul chips, as well as the overall car you can see in the gameplay, and just the feel of the game. You very much are this guy from a Blade Runner setting. On the other hand, you have the Western elements, right? Because you have a cowboy hat.
Yeah. I wonder how... Just make the gameplay interesting, make Fallout New Vegas and just make a good world. That's all I ask, okay? It's so simple.
You have a revolver, and the developers literally say that it has a very strong Western influence.
I mean, after Fallout 4, okay, it's not really hard to make a Fallout replacement, I feel, at this point. It shouldn't be at least hard.
And finally, you have the cyberpunk stuff.
Yeah, you see this. This is clearly a futuristic sign on an old-timey billboard that somehow magically fucking works. Like, you can't have a world like this. You cannot have a world like this. It's just an objective failure. This world is not selling me in the slightest.
Which is to say, It is futuristic. It's more advanced than our world, even though it takes place in 1998. And you do have augments or mods or something to that effect for your body, as well, presumably for your weapons and other gear. So,
Also, by the way, small fact: this is a gas station, and the second location where you go is also a gas station.
all in all, this game seems pretty interesting to me. I like the fact that it doesn't at all come across as goofy. I think a lot of our exposure to post-apocalyptic has been overly influenced by Fallout. And Fallout is just kind of goofy. Not always, there's some scary moments with
Fallout is kind of goofy nowadays.
feral ghouls or whatever, but generally speaking, it has a goofy 1950s feel. This does not have that at all. It has a very
Also, listen, okay? If you're gonna board up a fucking place, I better see those nails.
goofy
Listen, okay? Look at this board.
speaking.
Look at
It
this.
has a
Look at this. If you're gonna board up a place, I better see those nails, okay? This is not fucking futuristic wood that just attaches randomly to places you put it, okay? This is not future wood. This is normal wood. Like, why? How? I don't know. But I better see nails. You know, small things like that matter a lot.
goofy 1950s feel. This does not have that at all. It has a very grim, almost grim dark feel to it, and people seem pretty desperate here, and you seem to be basically just eking out an existence in the best case scenario. And based on what I've read, the world this game takes place in never fully recovered from the apocalyptic event, meaning even the corporation you're working for as a bounty hunter or ex-killer. And I think EXE is a tip-off to executable, i.e. what you would have to work with sometimes on your PC. Even this corporation, though, is kind of plopped down in the middle of New York City or Manhattan in the middle of a wasteland, right? Now, the developers have emphasized quite strongly the fact that player choice is very important. Now, I know we've heard this a million times before, player choice, but apparently the missions you go on and the tasks you engage in, well, these things are not limited to just one path. You can choose multiple paths for each major mission or choice you have to make, and that is the main focus of this game. Completing tasks and missions in different ways according to the way you want to play the game. So player choice, like I said, is something that a lot of people talk about, but I kind of believe them in this case. The whole game is designed around being a sort of action adventure game, strong immersive sim elements. And I don't believe that indie devs, I believe they're indie devs at least, would describe player choice as being a premium in this game if it weren't the case. Clearly have a passion for this, and apparently, in addition to everything else, there are environmental hazards, there are strange encounters. So basically, yeah, you are
Strange Encounters sounds good.
a kind of bounty hunter that is hunting, I guess, synthetics, I think, if I had to guess, and extracting their quote unquote souls. I'm not sure what that stands for, but basically sort of computer chips or chips within their bodies or brains, and you return them to a mega corporation. Now, I don't know how much morality plays a role here, because according to the developers, the entire world was nearly scorched out of existence, and I imagine
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's scorched out of
no
existence.
one really cares very much about conventional ethics, but I guess we'll have to see. But I really do think this could be the kind of Fallout game that we've all been waiting for, in the sense that it's not Fallout. It's offering a very different vision of a post-apocalyptic world or scenario. And personally, this vision appeals to me much more than the goofy 1950s Fallout nonsense. Yes, it's fun to wander around, but I'd rather have a more
God, imagine if they actually made Fallout good again. No more fucking Preston Garvey bullshit. No more Fallout 3. Your mission is to turn on a thing and everyone else is fighting who gets to press the stupid button, and then you have to die in a chamber because, I mean, that's your fucking destiny or something. Man, imagine Fallout could easily be one of the most dominant franchises in existence. Easily. I mean, we saw the Fallout TV show, right? Lightning in a bottle. Pure and simple as that. Lightning in a bottle. And yet, the games are just not interesting enough or anything, even though the setting is like liquid gold, in my opinion. And yet, Bethesda kind of fucked it all up. They literally have $1 trillion IP on their hands, and they're not making anything good with it. They made the vaults into a joke. Oh man, it's just so sad.
focused gameplay. I'd rather have something that allows proper player choice and has an impactful story and proper interactions as opposed to just a massive open world. I'll take semi-open world with a major hub any day over that, as long as the story is good, and it really does feel like player choice matters in such a situation. So, I am definitely on the lookout for this game. I guess, like I said, sometime this year. There's no release date as yet, but this sort of could be a kind of Fallout killer, because Fallout 5 is not coming out until...
Okay, listen, boys. Hot opinion time. But I don't care if it's the post-apocalypse. Littering is still not cool, okay? It's not cool, okay? Yeah, it's the post-apocalypse, but it's never gonna get less post-apocalypse if you're just being a dredge of humanity and littering, okay? Is it so hard to find a fucking trash can even in the post-apocalypse? Like, come on. You're just throwing it out there. I mean, ah. Okay, that's what separates us from animals, and you failed.
Many of us might not even be alive by then. Maybe the 2040s or something like that, some ridiculous state far off from now. And like I said in the beginning, post-apocalyptic is very, very difficult to nail, and all the more reason to look forward to a game that at least seems to be nailing the aspects that are important to a post-apocalyptic setting. Now, we don't know, and we won't know until we play the game.
By the way, how inefficient is a hover car? It hovers in the air constantly, even when no one's actually driving it. Like, that must be ridiculously bad for whatever battery or reactor or whatever type of energy you're using, okay? That must be ridiculously bad. Unless the point of this game is that there's infinity energy and things like that. In any case, 10 out of 10, that was Spell and Shield. Bye!